Sutter, Chief of Police.
Don Grice, DPW Director.
Kristen Kenyak, City Clerk.
Ryan Wolf, Fire Chief.
Brad Dick, City Councilor.
Brenda Simon, City Councilor.
Pam Howe, Mayor Pro Tem.
Danielle Kusan, Mayor.
Mike Gilmer, City Attorney.
Ellen Glass, City Manager. Heather McDermott, City Councilor.
Ray Colbert, City Councilor.
The first item on our agenda is a special presentation from,
So Raina's on her way, she was backed up on 23, but she is on her way, so do we want to just go ahead with the public hearing for the
The special
Byron Lake, and then we'll come back to that when
Yes.
she gets here?
so we'll move ahead to the public hearing for the special assessment rule for Byram Lake Improvement Program. So I will open that public hearing at 7:01. Anyone wishing to address that, please come forward. Hearing and seeing no one coming forward, I can close that public hearing. We did have two.
Yes. I know, but we're not speaking against it, so we're okay. Oh, good. Continue. Byron Lake people are happy.
Next item on the agenda, correspondence. We had correspondence from Genesee County Master Plan Input Survey information and video cable television complaint information from Michigan Public Service Commission. Are there any questions from council on the correspondence?
I had a quick question on the correspondence from the Michigan Public Service Commission. And that one details how if there's a problem, say, just to say Surf Internet, since they're the ones that most recently went through. Was the point of that letter just to let us have a outlet in case our infrastructure gets damaged by cable companies or whatever not coming through?
Good question, Pam. This is new. I've not seen, this correspondence come through. That's why we shared it with the city council. But I think that more than anything, it's just for individual homeowners to be able to, file that.
It was hard, after reading the letter, it was really hard to tell, was that for the community, for the government, local government, or citizens that have had issues? Because then, this will go on our webpage, because I know there's citizens that have had problems with their damage to their yards with the cable companies.
Any other questions from council on the correspondence? Next item on the agenda is public comment. Any person wishing to address the city council during the meeting will get 3 minutes under public comment. When public comment is approached on the agenda, individuals wishing to speak will be called upon. Utilizing the filled out comment cards, remarks should be addressed to the presiding officer. It is not a time for debate, but for questions or comments for council and or staff. Questions will be answered if the information is readily available. If answers are not available during the meeting, council or staff will contact the individual within 48 hours and respond to the questions within 10 days or when the information becomes available. So first, for public comment, I have Ramona Dees.
Ramona Dees, 506 North Bridge Street, Linden. Low-C seniors have little or no input in decisions made for us by this council, which is the same as the Low-C board. Rarely do we see any of the council members at Low-C. Decisions are being made by a council with no training in gerontology. Most of our seniors do not have dementia. We are capable of decision-making for ourselves. I propose that the council establish an advisory council or committee composed of active senior central members. I believe the Low-C travel program is successful largely because of the travel committee that meets monthly. This success points to the value of input from Low-C members.
Thank you, Ramona. Next, Monica Larner.
52 West Ralston Road, Linden. So kind of the same as last time. I'm still wondering why the trespass, having 4 instances of trespass in the past few months. And there was always police involvement, but then the follow-up just doesn't seem to be there. For instance, the signs that were supposed to be returned and talked to. Chief Sutter said they were still in his office when he called me. He did call me, so I do give him credit for that. But it got into kind of a, you know, not important, what I had to say. So trespassing is being on private property without the owner's consent. And, you know, I think I should have a say on my property. The other thing on the speed limit, problems that have arisen numerous times here. The speed limit being raised, to me, is not a good solution. I don't even understand how that all goes, just because the statistics were that, you know, that people were behaving. That doesn't make sense. I don't understand why now, all of a sudden, with the renovations that are about to happen on the mill, the paver, thing that seems to be kind of being pushed through, there's gonna be demolition and equipment running over those pavers. So I don't understand why that's being done first. They're saying that the donors don't want the concrete, so, you know, I don't understand. So it just seems like, you know, it's another thing we're not being told, you know, why this is being done first. So the survey that was taken in 2021 was before the renovation dollars were approved. So I don't know why that keeps being said as that's what the people wanted. No, that's not what the people want. And I think that the survey, you know, should be redone because there's different circumstances. Thank you.
West Ralston Road. Question goes back to the special assessment district thing from way back. There's a 1% extra charge on top of the regular, whatever the regular interest. What happens to that 1%, I guess is my question. So for every 100 homes, if everybody's paying 1%, that makes 100%. So since like Lindenwood has over 200 homes, that's twice the amount. And with, you add in the West Ralston part, there's another 45. So what's happening to the extra 200 and basically 50%? Like, where is it going? Like, what's it earmarked for? That's my only question.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. I don't see any additional comments. I did see that our auditor, Raina Evans, is here. Raina, you wanna, we moved the agenda, we moved this down on the agenda, so we do have our audit being presented by Raina Evans. Raina, if you wanna come forward for the audit.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Oh, you even have names on them, make it harder for me, huh?
I have one for you.
Thank you.
Good evening, nice to see everyone this evening. It's my pleasure to present the City of Linden's annual audited financial statements for your fiscal year ended June 30th, 2024. Starting with a few highlights, the city did receive the highest level of audit opinion possible, which is an unmodified opinion. So no exceptions, disclaimers, nothing bad to report tonight. In layman's terms, that's a clean audit opinion. Your major sources of revenue, property taxes increased 7.3%, and that is all the taxable value increase. As you know, everyone saw at least a 5% increase in the state of Michigan based on the rate of inflation. So the 7.3 accounts for that, plus any homes that sold and became uncapped, or any additions or improvements people made to their homes. So that's a nice increase. It shows the value of the city, of the properties within it. This is the second year of the new public safety millage, so it is in a separate column altogether. If you're perusing through this one evening and you're having trouble sleeping, so that is in its own column. It's not in the general fund anymore. State shared revenue is in the general fund. We saw a slight increase, just under 2%, and the state is projecting no more than about 2% for the next year as well. That is the sales tax and income tax that the state collects and gets distributed to the local units. So unless they do something with the formulas, which they're talking about, we may only see about a 2% increase there. Building permit fees were up this year, about $6,000, but the year before that we decreased, and the year before that we went up, so it's kind of an up and down kind of thing, but of course it has to do with any building within the city. But the real story is interest income. The city made, it was such an increase, I didn't even want to put it in percentage-wise, but we're talking about $60,000 more this year than in the prior year. That means the city is taking advantage of the interest rates. You are in safe and mostly FDIC insured investments. So, thanks to Treasurer Card for doing, staying on top of things, and Ellen, keeping their ear to the ground and taking advantage again with the good rates. General fund expenditures, about the same as the prior year, so that you kept everything your operating expenditures very stable. The increase was in capital outlay, was about $20,000 more than the prior year, so nothing big there to report. You came in under budget about $94,000 this year, so we like to see under budget, of course. You did add $788,000 of the general fund balance. That's because it's the first year that public safety is not in the general fund. It's probably gonna even out a bit. It just looks like a big spike this year, but we could use it, so, that's good news. General fund balance ends at $2.4 million. The general fund did transfer money to the public safety fund. I did wanna point that out. It's not a standalone. So the general fund did have to transfer $165,000 this year, to keep the public safety fund, solvent. Also new this year, the mill building restoration is in its own column as well. So that is being kept track in a completely separate fund. You did receive $2 million of grant money in this fiscal year. You'll see that in there. And your future restoration costs, you didn't really spend that much this year, so you'll start seeing that in the future years. But that is completely separate, just so the council knows that. Water and sewer funds overall added $30,000 to the sewer fund and $200,000 to the water fund. Positive cash flow in both the water and sewer fund. Last year we had negative in the water fund, but you paid off some of your debt. So, but happy to report that's what we like to look at. Positive cash flow in both the water and sewer fund. You have one more year in the 2015 water bonds, yay, and one more year on the Walmart property loan. Major water capital projects are the Southern Lakes Water Project Phase 1 and the Linden Wood Water Project. Lastly, the other post-employment benefit liability, which are calculated by the actuaries, and you have some money set aside for that. The liability actually decreased about $25,000, which, again, we'd like to see that direction, and you're 22% funded this year. So with that, I'm happy, and it's a lot of numbers, and it's early in the night yet, so if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Pam, any questions for Rena? Sure.
So I do have a question about it, because at the end of our meetings, we always have the financials. And through understanding through Michigan Municipal League, they've been saying that we should not have financials so much as to be approved, because the city already pays them and they're accounted for in the budget. But to say the bills have been paid and here are the bills that we paid, wouldn't that be better than having to go through and approve the bills at the end when really it's redundant? We've already done it through the budgetary process.
The counts, so just to correct me if I'm not understanding you correctly, but approving the bills at the council meetings, is Treasury wants you to do that, because it's telling them that you're actually, you see at least a check register, like you're seeing a full-blown revenue and expense budget to actual report, which is even better. But basically, they wanted a minimum, a check register, that you could look at to kind of like go down the list and say, yeah, this looks right, these were the things we, I recognize that contract, or we approved these projects, the big stuff. And so it is a requirement that you do approve the bills. Does that answer the question?
It does, but I just, maybe you did get with the Michigan Municipal League, because they're saying that we don't need to do that so much as they have been accounted for and the bills have already been paid. Because they don't.
By virtue of the budget, you mean? By passing the budget, you're already automatically approving them? Is that what you're saying?
That they're accounted for.
Well, you're accounted for, but you do have to take the motion of, and please jump in, council, if you like, but I do work directly with Michigan Department of Treasury, the local audit division, which is basically oversees the city's financial statements, and that's who we report to and file with. And they do want you to approve the bills for those reasons of, they want you to at least see what's going out the door. Like, they're not asking you to look at every $100 invoice, but they kind of want you to, if we approve, I don't know, a police vehicle in the budget, it doesn't necessarily mean, because council can change their mind. You know what, we spent too much in such and such area, we want to pull back. But if you're saying that the budget already approved it, that means, the administration can just go buy a police vehicle without coming to you again.
Minutes from the council meeting on October 28th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We have no unfinished business. Next, under new business, is resolution number 34-24, confirming Byram Lake weed special assessment role.
So this is the final step in the process for the Byram Lake weed assessment. As you heard, they were happy to see this moving forward. So this is the final step. I'm happy to take any questions if you guys have them, but pretty straightforward.
Any questions from the audience on this? I know we've had public hearing already. Hearing and seeing no questions from the audience. Brenda, any questions?
No.
Comments?
No, thank you.
Brad?
No.
Ray?
No questions.
Heather?
No.
Pam?
No.
I have no questions. Is there a motion to approve resolution 34-24?
So moved.
Support.
And Kristen Quaver, roll call, please.
Dick?
Yes.
McDermott?
Yes.
Simons?
Yes.
Colbert?
Yes.
Hassan?
Yes.
Howe?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the Genesee County Intergovernmental Agreement for Road Maintenance.
I'll let Don take this one, if you'd like to, Don.
Good evening, council. You have before you tonight a motion to approve an interlocal agreement with Genesee County Road Commission for limited road maintenance throughout the city of Linden. As a little history, in December of 2021, the city entered into this interlocal governmental agreement with Genesee County to provide limited road maintenance for the city of Linden. The main intent of the agreement was to focus on areas of maintenance that required specialized services and equipment, including CDL operations for snow and ice control, as well as motor grader work on dirt roads. During that time, we were able to successfully fill open positions that we had, and we were also able to increase our CDL field drivers from 1 at the time to 3 currently. So the next thing for council to consider is what kind of financial investments the department should make in equipment as we move forward into the future. As is mentioned in the memo, the city currently has 2 dump trucks that are designed for major road snow and ice removal. The primary truck is currently 16 years old, and the secondary truck is now 30 years old. I'm reluctant to rely on the dependability of those vehicles for frontline snow and ice control. Therefore, I'm bringing forward this agreement to extend the interlocal for another 2 years with Genesee County. I've attached the agreement for your review and consideration, and I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Don. I think this has been very beneficial to the community. It helps get things cleared faster for everyone and has allowed some growth with the department, but understand the concerns you have with the age of the equipment. Brad, do you have any comments or questions?
No, it's kind of worked out since the county was always stopping at the Linden border and lifting the blade, going to the other side of Linden, dropping the blade again. It actually probably helps maintain the life of our road, with only having 1 truck on it instead of ours and theirs.
Ray?
I believe it's worked out well for Linden, and we should continue to support this agreement.
Heather?
I agree with Ray. Seems like it's been working the last few years, so.
Pam?
They do a really good job, and I'm glad that we have them.
Brenda?
I'm in agreement, thanks.
Any comments or questions from the audience? Hearing and seeing none, is there a motion to approve the Genesee County Intergovernmental Agreement for Road Maintenance?
I make a motion that we approve the agreement.
Is there support?
Support.
And Kristen, can we have a roll call, please?
Hassan,
Yes?
Colbert,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Howe,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
McDermott.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, the 2025-2027 City Planning Services Agreement.
In front of you guys, you have a renewal contract with Wade Trim for planning and zoning services. They've been with the city since 2011. Adam Young is our designated planning and zoning administrator. They have done, from my perspective, a great job, and we would like to continue working with them. They have provided a renewal, and actually we asked them to expand a little bit in the renewal to include our Historic District Commission. Currently, that falls on city staff, and some of the things that we have reviewed in the past couple of years have been a bit tasking, and we are hoping to, again, seek approval from council tonight that would include the Historic District Commission as well in the scope of services. As you can see, their proposal is an increase, bringing the planning and services retainer fee to $2,300 per month. Originally, when we started with them, it was $2,000 in 2011, so there hasn't been significant increases in that time. But the $2,300 per month would include the expansion of HDC. And I do think that a lot of the applications that we're seeing come through the Historic District Commission, it would be nice to have another set of eyes on them and someone that specializes in that. You can see in the letter that they would have a designated person that specializes in the historic, designation, Historic District Commissions and things like that. So, asking for approval tonight.
Thank you, Ellen. As someone who served on the Historic District Commission, it is a great group. Would be helpful to have someone with that expertise added to the table. Also, I have worked with Adam for many years, and I think they have done a great job with Wade Trim. He worked on our master plan and the steering committee. So I would support the continuing. Ray, do you have any comments, questions regarding the city planning services agreement?
I certainly agree with this contract. Being on the planning commission, Wade Trim and Adam have done a terrific job for us. They thoroughly investigate all proposals before it's submitted to the planning commission and been extremely helpful in getting projects approved. So I would certainly support this, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Heather?
No, interaction I've had with Adam and them has been very professional and thorough, and I think they're doing a great job.
Thank you. Pam?
I think it's a very worthwhile and good agreement because, their specialties, their staff that, would be on the Historic District Commission, Arthur Mullen, has a master's degree in historic preservation, plus he has certifications as both a historian and architectural historian. So, I mean, that's invaluable information when it comes to preserving your downtown and
Just to
working.
clarify, they wouldn't be a voting member, they would be an advisor.
Right, but I mean, as an advisor, that's invaluable.
Thank you, Pam. Brenda?
I agree, I think that's great. I think this is a great thing to go forward with too. Adam's been wonderful, and on a personal level, I've done some things that required some help from Adam. He's always willing to help residents. You give him a call, he'll explain things to you. He's really great at what he does. So I'm happy with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Brad?
Yeah, Adam's done well, but as with any other contract we have, it's the person that our rep from the company, it makes a difference, and Adam has been wonderful, he's been phenomenal to work with. Been on the planning commission since 2008, when we brought Adam in 2011, he's replacing a company that pretty much didn't even want to recognize that Linden existed anymore. So, Wade Trim's been doing a great job for us.
Thank you, Brad. Any comments from members of the audience? Scott?
Yeah, Scott Worth, Chairman of the ZBA. Adam is so valuable for our ZBA. I don't think we could actually run without him. He gives us guidance, he helps us with homework, we can ask him questions, and Christine, you probably agree as well, right? So, kudos for Adam.
All right, thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing and seeing none, is there a motion to approve the 2025-2027 City Planning Services Agreement?
So moved.
Support.
And Kristen, can we have a roll call, please?
Colbert,
Yes.
Busan,
Yes?
McDermott,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Simon.
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the Mill Pond Sidewalk Design and Construction Oversight Scope.
Good evening, council. The next item for your consideration is a motion to approve the scope of services for row engineering and the mill pathway project. As was mentioned previous meeting, the DDA and city staff have been working together to try to find a solution to replace the pathway over the dam across the mill pond. We included a few photos just for the audience. There's been a considerable amount of settling that's occurred around the dam itself. The picture really doesn't do justice, but there's a significant trip hazard where the area transitions over across the dam. A couple years ago, we went through and we had a company come out and remove multiple trip hazards. You can see that were highlighted, they're circled in the blue there. The bricks are also to an age where they're starting to deteriorate, essentially disintegrate over top of the dam. We've been replacing those as we can with bricks that aren't an exact match, but they do work out okay in that situation. So in order to accomplish this, at the previous meeting, council asked me to come back with the scope of services from Row Engineering for the design bid and then construction oversight for this project. And just to clarify for the audience, this project would not be taking place prior to the mill renovation. This is for the design services only for that, so that we can go out to bid and get actual numbers on what it would cost for the project. We would, at that point, if we would come back to council and obviously ask for approval for the project to proceed. So before you tonight, again, it's just a motion to approve the scope of services for the design, bid, and construction oversight if we do progress to that point.
Thank you, Don. Heather, any comments or questions? Pam?
time you were discussing, I mean, there's an alternate plan there for pavers, or there's a plan A for just cement work. Have they studied, like, looked into like flexible pavement, or, ways to avoid freeze-thaw cycle, which pushes those pavers up, maybe a heated bridge walk?
No, not to my knowledge, they've never investigated either one of those options.
Any other questions, Pam?
No.
Brenda?
No questions.
Brad?
Anybody that lives in West Ralston, you'll understand how important it is for us to actually go out and get the engineering done so we can get a proper cost before we bid this project. And that's why it's going forward now, so when we are ready to do it, we'll be able to have the construction documents. You saw it took a long time to get the engineering done. This will be something that's not gonna be tops on Rose's list to get done for us, but it will get done, and then we'll have the documents, we go out and bid it at that time. And it is a combined project between the DDA, which does have some funding for it, and city council. And the biggest reason it needs to be engineered, for anybody that wasn't here the last time, is that is a emergency road. In case something happens to the bridge on Bridge Street, that it's the pavers and that sidewalk are engineered as a road for emergency vehicles to cross the dam.
Thank you, Brad. Ray?
No further questions?
Were there any comments or questions from the audience? Hearing and seeing none, is there a motion to approve the scope of services for row engineering in the amount of $18,700?
So moved.
Support.
Kristen, can we have a roll call, please?
McDermott,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Colbert,
Yes.
Peason.
Yes. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is an ethics ordinance violation complaint. I'll turn that over to our attorney.
Thank you. I see my letter is posted there on the screen. I'll go through it. So the ethics complaint that was made by Elizabeth Armstrong against Pam Howard relates to 3 different individuals and statements that were made to those individuals in mid-October. The first, the gentleman, the homeowner was not named specifically by address or by name, but it's the fella who sells duck eggs, and apparently everyone in Linden knows who that is. The accusation was that Pam Howard went to his house, had some papers with her that she offered or showed him, and in the course of doing so told him that charges were pending from Lapeer against Ms. Armstrong. Those charges were not identified, no more specific than that. Some unspecified charges were pending. That gentleman did not want to get involved, and so was non-specific in terms of what exactly he was told during that event. The next day is the second event, and that involves a woman who owned the property by the name of Aubrey. The accusation again is that Pam Howard went to her house, approached her again with papers and some information, offered it to her or showed it to her, and again repeated the accusation that charges were pending against Ms. Armstrong. Aubrey did not elaborate on what those charges were, although she corroborated when I spoke with her the fact that those statements were made. The third and final took place, and that involves Judy Franz. The accusation is that Pam Howard went to her house, again with these papers, showed her the papers, gave her copies of those papers, which I've attached to my letter, and indicated that there were charges, warrants, and indictments against Ms. Armstrong out of Lapeer. Perhaps the most explosive, I'll say, is she said that Pam Howard told her that Elizabeth burned her house down in Lapeer. Further, the accusation was that Pam told Ms. Franz that Ms. Armstrong hadn't paid rent in 7 years and wasn't eligible to be mayor because she didn't pay rent. And those were the accusations. I spoke with Ms. Zinn, who accompanied Ms. Armstrong to all 3 of these homes. She was present to hear it. She corroborated all of those. In addition to speaking with Judy Franz, Elizabeth Armstrong played for me a very short audio that she took of a phone call with Judy Franz, where Judy indicated and repeated that what she was told. And again, the most prominent of those was that Ms. Armstrong lit her own house on fire in Lapeer. Finally, I spoke with Ms. Howard. Ms. Howard, there's a certain level of agreement or consistency among all of those statements. And then, of course, we diverge on some key points. But Ms. Howard does not dispute speaking with all 3 of those individuals. She went over there specifically because she saw Ms. Armstrong's signs in their yards. And as she told me, her purpose was to ask them if they really knew who they were voting for. She admitted to having papers. 2 or 3 of them had told me they were in a blue folder. You know, it's just one of those small details. But according to Ms. Howard, she had such papers with her. And she offered or gave or explained to all of them what those papers were. And I don't know, Kristen, if you have them, you can't read them, even if they're not on a screen in this room. But what those papers are printouts from docket entries from the Lapeer courts of cases involving Ms. Armstrong, and they're all of a civil nature. None are criminal. Without going into any details, they just relate to unpaid rent or an unpaid debt. Ms. Howard said that she explained that to everybody. She denies saying that there were anything criminal in nature. The business about charges, indictments, accusations, she said, I had no such information. I never told anybody about that. It was just these civil cases. I asked her point blank if she told anybody that Ms. Armstrong lit her house on fire, and she denied it. Said she had no reason to believe that to be true, would have no reason to tell people that. When I asked her if she said anything that may have caused people to believe that she said that, she said all she could think of was that as she went to some homes and people would ask, what's Ms. Armstrong's background, where does she come from? Her response was she came from Lapeer to Linden after her home in Lapeer burned. But without that extra step that she burned her own home. So that's the substance of my investigation. My conclusion is that there is no ethics violation. Now, just last month, I was before you where there were accusations made of a criminal nature that were false. And my opinion there was an ethics violation. At least as it relates to Ms. Armstrong committing arson of her own home, that's an accusation of a criminal nature. And so I think naturally folks may say, why one, not the other? But to me, there are really 3 critical differences between the 2 accusations. First, in the first one, and I hope this is the last ethics violation, but in the first one that we had, there was a specific accusation of physical contact that took place, and there was clear video of exactly that incident. Here we have he said, she said. We have Ms. Howard denying that she said that. We have others who claim that she did. I'm not, I can't look into that glass any better than anybody else. I don't know what was said exactly. On one hand, Ms. Howard said that at least Aubrey and Ms. Franz were friends of hers, as she considered friends. So the fact that Judy Franz, for example, said that was said leads one to believe, in fact, it was. I have no reason to doubt her. But I don't have anything objective to know exactly what was said out there. And that, to me, is a critical difference. The first time, all I had to do was look at a video, and you all saw that video, and it was plain. Two, I think much leeway has to be given to what is said on the campaign trail about candidates. As I put in my letter, I think this is a key difference. In the first complaint, it was made against two city employees who were not running for office, they were not candidates, they were not public figures. And the law on false statements and slander is different, considerably different when you're talking public officials versus private individuals. With private individuals, all you have to show is it was false. Someone said something false about me and I suffer damages. With public officials, both by Michigan law and by Supreme Court decisions, the standard is not falsity. Rather, the person who is making the assertion has to either know it's false or made the statement with reckless disregard for the truth. It's a higher standard. It's called actual malice. In this case, any comments that were made on the campaign trail about Ms. Armstrong, who was a member of City Council, was on the ballot for mayor, I think are subjected to that higher standard. Now, reckless disregard for the truth. I said that, it's either got to be knowingly false or said with reckless disregard. The case law is also clear that a failure to investigate does not equal reckless disregard, even when a normal, objective person would have investigated. I take at face value that there are no criminal cases against Ms. Armstrong that are pending. I have no reason to believe that she lit her house on fire. I've completed the task, I've made my recommendation, and I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Thank you, Mike. And I guess just procedurally, I know the prior ethics violation hearing we had, the subject of the hearing was not here. So I don't know, when should I give Ms. Howard an opportunity? If she wants an opportunity to speak, I don't know that that's outlined, and I'm just looking for some guidance on.
It isn't, that process specifically is not mentioned at all in your ordinance. And we've tried to stick to the same process in addressing this one as we did the first one. I leave it to you in your discretion. It's whether you give her that opportunity or you don't, that's up to you.
Okay. I'm going to open up to if there are any public comments on the ethics violation complaint. If anyone wanted to speak about the ethics violation complaint, this would be your chance. If no one from the public wants to address it, I'll move on to council. Okay, seeing nothing from the public, I'm going to start with Ms. Simons.
Well, I'm everyone knows that I voted for the ethics ordinance, and it is a really good tool when it's used correctly. And you know, we have to really address each other with respect, and that's what this is all about. It's about being kind and truthful and not vicious. So I stand behind it, and I'm sorry to see this happen again. This does not make me happy. I don't have any questions about what you said, Mr. Gildner. I'm in agreement.
Brad?
I just don't know why we didn't get a copy of your letter, Mike, I don't have it.
Yeah, I don't know either. I asked just beforehand, did everybody receive my letter? It was just, I don't know, I sent it over. And it's right there.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I don't know,
Mike-
I'm at the wrong end.
Mike sent it, I think you sent it to us yesterday, I think it is, Mike. So, and that's us, we did put it in the packet, and I apologize, we didn't send it out to the council, but we put it in the updated packet, but that's our fault, so apologize about that.
No, I was just, looking for his actual opinion, and the legalese. We've got eyewitness accounts, and we're discounting the eyewitnesses, and, I understand what you're saying, I just wanted to read the opinion, that's all.
Thank you, Brad. Ray?
Thank you, Michael, for your investigation. Appreciate it.
Heather?
Thanks, Mike, for investigation, and, from what I'm hearing, this is, a he said, she said, I don't know what was said, I wasn't there. I hope going forward, when I'm not going to be a part of this, that we don't just start doing this. And like Mike said, they've been campaigning, people have been campaigning, I guarantee you there's a whole lot of lies been said out there. I just think this is whatever, nothing.
Thank you, Heather. So I find this a very disappointing final act that Ms. Armstrong took as a city councilor. This was submitted shortly before she resigned from city council. It's more cost that's been diverted from what's being done and from the city attorney, money that he's spending to investigate things. I understand from speaking to people, I've talked to people after this happened, and just in people talking, hearing not the specifics, but some people hear judgment and they use the wrong words. I'm not saying that's what happened, it could be what happened. Not everyone understands what these words mean. Do I think that Ms. Howard had a point of pointing out that, yes, there's judgment, outstanding judgment against Ms. Armstrong, still outstanding, she hasn't paid a debt that she owed in 2016. Did she also get sued for rent several times? Yes. Mr. Lee came forward in one of the meetings and said there was nothing there, it must have been a lie. He didn't look in the right place. It's there, it's what's been provided. It's unfortunate that Ms. Howard is being called into question because she was sharing information because she thought it was important that people know that the person that they're electing supporting to be the mayor, any position, is someone who is not responsible for their own bills. And I hope that the council moving forward uses this not as a weapon against one another, not as a way to keep people from talking and expressing their opinions, but I wish that people use this as a way to be held to a higher standard. As elected officials, we are all to be held to a higher standard. People should expect more from us. And I hope that people realize that when they're taking office, what's expected of them. Thank you. Pam, you have comments?
Thank you, Mike, for all your work onto this code of ethics violation. When I went out to talk to my friends and my neighbors, I only told them that they may want to reconsider their choice. And when they asked me why, I said it's because of the reason that Miss Armstrong did not pay some of her bills in Lapeer. I said, that's all online, that's all I said, I kept it short, I kept it sweet. I never once made any inflammatory comments. Since Mike already mentioned what they were, I did not make inflammatory comments. I said, you may want to rethink your choice. I didn't say you need to do that. I said, they need to think. It's the voters' right to choose. And going forward, I will be my professional best. I will do my best to support our mayor. I will do my best to support the city. And I always will give you the best. I will be truthful. I will be working hard. And I'm always here for you. You can come see me anytime.
Thank you, Pam. Next item on our agenda is the manager's update.
Just a few things, just briefly, I would really like to thank our clerk's department and our entire staff for the elections this year with early voting and all of that. I don't think there wasn't a department that wasn't involved in the elections with either help setting up, picking up food, cleaning up. So I just really appreciate all the efforts that went into that. And again, our clerk's department for a stellar job on running the election. We did have our Civics Plus kickoff, which is our new alert system that we're putting in place, and we're hoping to have that done by the end of the year, if not sooner. As soon as we're ready to go with that, we'll roll that out. Excited to have that in place. 911 board did meet. We had a special meeting to consider a new location for the 911. It looks like that will be moving forward. They will be working with a current location where they'll be doing renovations for that. And then our planning commission meeting, our planning commission did meet regarding a new development, the Forest Ridge Glens. That was postponed for the time being. They're asking the developer to provide additional information, and they'll be coming back to the planning commission, and eventually would be making its way back to city council. So just a couple of things.
Thank you. Any council questions for the manager tonight? All right, thank you. Next on the agenda is the city attorney's update.
The only thing I wanted to mention was the fact that I had committed to providing some FOIA training to the city and the staff. Tentatively scheduled, I think for today, wasn't it? Yeah. But with everything else that was going on, I really asked for some additional time, and so we're going to get that back on the books. And also working through boards and commissions and some inconsistencies between ordinances and bylaws and questions about who is sitting where. So working through those issues as well. That's all.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions from council for the city attorney? Hearing and seeing none, we do have department reports from the police department, code enforcement, Department of Public Works, fire department, and the clerk's department. Any questions or comments from council on the department reports?
Was there a police report, enforcement report in the packet? It seems to be missing.
You're right, I read off the list, but
It's on the screen.
Just
It's on-
fire and
there's one on the screen.
fire and clerks.
Chief's notes are in there.
We can get that out to everybody, but it wasn't.
You can't read it, I know.
Sorry, Pam. I can't read that screen either, so.
Any other questions?
No.
Next item on the agenda are council comments and reports. And Pam, I'm gonna start with you.
I attended the Veterans Day breakfast and ceremony put on by the Fenton Linden Rotary. It was wonderful. It was well attended by the other communities as well. There were people there from Lake Fenton, there were people there from Holly, Argentine, all over. And the veterans got free breakfast. It was wonderful, and it was very humbling. And it was nice to see Roby there and Ramona.
Thank you, Pam. Brenda?
Nothing else, thanks.
Brad?
How many ladies were at ladies' night over the weekend? There's a few. For a minute, Craig, I thought I saw you raise your hand there. He's tipping his hat. But it looks like we had a great weekend. The weather was great. Looks like we had a fantastic turnout. I've heard positive things from all our downtown businesses, so thank you all for coming out. I'd like to thank my outgoing colleagues, Mr. Colbert, who's been around for a very long time, Heather, who I've always looked for, the solid numbers person, can explain our assessments and such. Danielle for legal opinions throughout the years. We have not always seen eye to eye, but we've always done the best to move Linden forward. So I thank all of you for your service, and you'll be missed.
Thank you, Brad. Ray?
We did have a FACT consortium meeting yesterday, and you will be getting a request for equipment for the schools in January, so be prepared for that. I think it'll be about roughly $20,000, Linden's portion, so be prepared for that. And because this is my last meeting, I had just a few comments. I first wanted to thank Ellen and the city staff for all of their support. You guys really help us counselors and provide the information that we need to make effective decisions. They work hard, they're very committed, and we have a very strong professional group of people. And thank you for what you do, and we need to continue to support you. Second, I want to thank the mayor and my fellow counselors, who are great friends, and we work well together. I want to thank you for your dedication and service. We don't do this for the money. We do it because we love Linden, and I appreciate all of your support over the years, and I wish you well in the future. And last, I truly appreciate the people in our community. Linden has people that care about their community. We are a bunch of volunteers, and that's what it takes to make our city great. And thank you all for what you do to make Linden the city that it is. And I've always tried to look forward, and I see Linden continuing to grow and providing our people who live here a great place to live and work. And I expect that all the new elected officials will believe that as strongly as your current council. So thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Heather?
Just quick, this is my last meeting. Most of the time I've enjoyed it over the last 9 years, some of it not. The new council coming in, I hope you will put aside whatever differences there are and work together for this community. It's a great community. We have an excellent staff, and I just hope we continue to move forward, keep this city going in a positive direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. I do want to recognize Heather for certificate of appreciation for her years of outstanding service to the city of Linden on city council, boards and commissions. We We appreciate your service and dedication. And likewise, I would also like to recognize Ray Colbert for his outstanding service to the city of Linden on council, of course, predating us being a city. And
Predating the city?
and on boards and commissions. It's been a pleasure to work with the council over the years. It's a big commitment. It was amazing when I was clearing my calendar. It's like I get rid of a part-time job. It's been a great group of people to work with. I guess some of my official duties and things to report, I did go to Small Cities last week on Wednesday. The city of Fenton hosted Small Cities. It's a great organization, and they have, Ed Cleto was our speaker to talk about the LAF pathway, and as well as on behalf of the county, to talk about the importance of pathways and putting them in the community. So it was good to be there. Also on Thursday, attended the Fenton Linden Regional Chamber of Commerce Appreciation Dinner. Again, a great opportunity to see many great people who do a lot of things for the community. We did have, Symphony was recognized as an ambassador, and also B&W is opening their location, is it tomorrow?
It's on Thompson Road tomorrow at 11:30.
So they received an award as well. So again, a great evening. It's good to have all these people get together, the different business owners, people who have been on the Downtown Development Authority, as well as the Grow Linden, and people that are involved. Great community event. I want to thank the staff. We have a fabulous staff. I have been with the city since 2007 and have seen us through many managers. I counted 5. Chief Sutter has filled in as manager on various occasions during that time, and I will say we've never had a better team. And these people work unbelievably hard to do what's best. Kristen, I get a little worried sometimes when it's Friday and I'm getting the packets in the evening, because I know you're still working, and you're not supposed to, because we close early on Fridays, but you're doing it, because that's what needs to be done. And we are blessed to have a great staff. I want to thank, I know a lot of our board members are here, people that serve on various boards. Thank you for the time that you put into the community. It takes a lot to make this city be what it is. And I know in serving on the Small Cities and Villages of Genesee County, I'm a life member now, so I can still go to those meetings and plan to. People are always jealous of the amount of volunteers we have here. The amount of people we have dedicated to doing things to make this a better community. And I want to thank all those people that are here. I encourage people to continue to do that and to move forward. For the new people coming in on council and for our incoming mayor, I encourage you all to educate yourself. You will learn things that you never thought you needed to know about, but we have to, right? You learning how to do the budget for the city and how long it takes to do anything. No one appreciates how long government projects take until you're sitting in the seat and you're like, wait a minute, we've been talking about this for 5 years. Well, yeah, because we talk about it, we plan it, then we get the money, and then we have time to spend it. Those are all things that you'll be able to learn. The Michigan Municipal League does a great job of providing training for elected officials. People should have gotten an invitation to attend one of those. Now you're elected, now what, I think it is. And they also have core weekends. For those of us who work, there are some things, the core weekender is a good thing because they do have that, it's a weekend event. I attended several of those. Sometimes it is taking some time off of your day job, using your personal time to learn some things, and to better the community, and be able to better serve. now, after COVID, they do have things where you have Zoom. You might be able to Zoom in. They also have pre-recorded things. I encourage you, once you get the access, to look that up and use that tool. Use the research that's already been done to learn the job that has to be done. Because that's what the residents in Linden deserve. They deserve people here who are making decisions based on information, and that information is available. Talk to your staff. They are a great group of people. We've got a great city attorney. We have a great city planner. All these people help us come together and be the great community that we are. I'm glad to have many good friends, and I know I will still see you, so thank you.
You left out one person for the certificate of appreciation. The Linden City Council would like to award you for your years of outstanding service to the city of Linden, serving on city council and boards and commissions. We appreciate your service and your dedication.
Thank you, Pam. And our final thing for our meeting tonight is the financial report. I'll close my computer before I,
$91,832.50.
are there any questions on the bills? Is there a motion to?
I'll even make a motion to approve the bills, Mr.
Support. And Kristen, can we have a roll call, please?
Simon,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Albert,
Yes.
Hassan,
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. We are adjourned